Hey there, my name is Nathan Agan, and this is The Working Actor's Journey, bringing you in-depth conversations with actors that have been working professionally for decades. Today, we have a text work session with Richard Riehle from episode number 21. Previous sessions of text work include Pinter, Stoppard, and newer works. And if you enjoy this text work session, I highly encourage you to check out the full episode with the guest, as it is packed with so much more on life as a working actor. In this episode, Richard discusses one of Leontes' speeches in The Winter's Tale by Shakespeare. It's in the first act where he has his suspicions about his wife and his best friend having an affair. Leontes is speaking with his trusted advisor Camillo, who cannot bear to hear these accusations, and Leontes responds, "Is whispering nothing?" and goes from there. You'll hear Richard discuss how Shakespeare drops you into this without any backstory, the questions you want to ask yourself with words that repeat, and that if you even explore the sounds of the speeches, they can give you clues too. It's a great session, and it was a lot of fun to hear Richard's insights on the character and all the possibilities that lay before you with a text like this. So here we go with Richard and The Winter's Tale. Please enjoy the text work. And we've been talking, theater has been kind of a through line throughout, and I knew you were open, if you had a little bit of time, just to talk about this speech from The Winter's Tale, which is great, because it's one of the later Shakespeare plays, and so, a lot of scholars talk about how advanced the language was in terms of Shakespeare's writing style, that it wasn't, this simple Two Gentlemen of Verona, that he was really experimenting with the form and really doing different things. And so I think it's great to look at something that is, thought of as maybe more advanced. This is in Act 1, Scene 2, where Leontes is starting to have his suspicions, and he's talking to Camillo. And wherever you want to jump in with it. And it's a little bit of a speech that starts with, "Is whispering nothing?" for anyone who wants to find it and follow along.
Right, and it's interesting. I mean, I think it's his second last play or his third last play, and it is very sophisticated in terms of the language, and it starts right in the middle of it. You have no idea. There's no backstory to why Leontes has these questions about his lovely pregnant wife, And this is happening in the middle of a party, a bon voyage party,
right?
And finally, and he's been saying these terrible things, and Camillo's been trying to say, "Oh, come on, this is you can't say that. I would not be standard by to hear my sovereign mistress clouded." So and finally he says, "Look, if you love me, you're his cupbearer. Poison him. Get rid of him if you love me." And Camillo can't understand why he asked this, and so this is his final reasoning behind it. And it's interesting in that it's these short half sentences,
right?
With lots of punctuation, and it's kind of an amazing piece of writing. So he says to Camillo, "Is whispering nothing? Is leaning cheek to cheek? Is meeting noses, kissing with inside lips, stopping the career of laughter with a sigh, a note infallible of breaking honesty, horsing foot on foot, skulking in corners, wishing clocks more swift, hours, minutes, noon, midnight, and all eyes blind with the pin and web, but theirs only that would unseen be wicked. Is this nothing? Why, then the world and all that's in it's nothing. The covering sky is nothing. Bohemia nothing. My wife is nothing. Nor nothing have these nothings if this be nothing."
Very cool. Yeah, I love that there's all those, the lines are all broken up with all these questions, and as you said, these half sentences, and of course, the repetition of the word nothing, throughout.
Yes. And the change, it's often said that sense is done through consonants and emotion through vowels, and the choice of consonants is very interesting in this too. I mean, it's whispering, leaning, meeting noses, kissing. It's all the sibilant, a lot of sibilant sounds.
Now you said, when you first auditioned for Ashland, that, you were doing 3 Shakespeare plays and you'd only done a couple. Where did you feel that you really, hit your stride with Shakespeare, or you started to feel like you knew what you were doing with Shakespeare? Was it from doing the stuff at Ashland in that first season?
Well, the first season was certainly made me more comfortable with it. I think I've done now 19 or 20 of the plays.
Oh, wow.
Probably 35 maybe productions, and it's so, the plays are so well written.
Yeah.
And if you like I say, if you explore the sounds even, they really help you determine what you're trying to do in each scene and in each speech, and it's a way that there's musicality to it, there's rhythm to it, it's everything. It's like Wagner used to say, Gesamtwerk, Gesamtkunstwerk. Yeah, it's everything.
Yeah,
right there.
Well, and I imagine part of the creativity or maybe even fun for the actor is figuring out, where does this come from? Because, like you said, it's not, we don't know where this feeling has started. Like you said, we start in the middle of the conversation, and so creating that place for yourself as the actor, as the character of where is Leontes coming from?
Right, and he's making himself crazy.
Right,
probably
of course.
Drinking. He's probably drinking. His wife is pregnant, so maybe she's not as fun in bed as she had been before. He's beginning to doubt whether Mamilius is actually his son.
Right. Yeah.
Everything, everywhere he looks, he's creating this. He's 28 years old. Maybe it's schizophrenia. Maybe it's it continues until Hermione is killed in childbirth, or you think,
right, of course, yeah.
And suddenly he goes, "Oh my God, what have I been saying? What have I been doing?" And he spends 16 years, atoning for it. None of which you see.
Right.
Because time goes to Bohemia.
Yes.
And then Bohemia comes back and says, I think I've got this magical thing that you need to be aware of. And he's lost. He's lost in this love that somehow has traveled over time, over space, from death to life, and it's yeah.
Well, and just one thing I am curious about with this particular speech, because the word nothing is repeated, I think a lot of actors, might overlook that, or just not know, well, what do I do with, I say the word nothing, what is it, 8 times in the speech or something like that. And I mean, and maybe it's something that is perhaps more instinctual for you at this point, but if you're looking at another speech in Shakespeare and you see that repetition, where does your mind start going in terms of maybe the questions you need to start asking, or what you want to be curious about?
Well, why? Why did Shakespeare, choose to repeat this particular word?
Right.
Is it for emphasis? Is it because he can't find another word to describe what he's trying to say? Is it because all he sees is nothingness at this point?
Right.
There's so many different possibilities, and they're all there, and you can use You can use them all, and you can use different ones for different nights.
Right. Yeah. Talk about keeping it interesting and keeping it fresh. Hey guys, Nathan here one more time. If you enjoyed this episode, please remember to subscribe so you don't miss anything ahead. Be sure to visit workingactorsjourney.com for additional info and links for items mentioned in today's episode, as well as all the episodes. You can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. All the links are on our site and in the episode notes. Become a premium member and enjoy additional benefits and perks of the show starting at just $2 per month. Head over to workingactorsjourney.com/premium to join the Working Actors community. Thanks again to today's guest and to everyone that makes these episodes possible. And a special thanks to you for listening. I'm Nathan Egan, and enjoy the journey.